Hello my friends, a very good evening to all of you. Welcome to the 100 most expected innovation and entrepreneurship session, part 2. Friends, as I've already mentioned in my previous sessions, this is the first two sessions in this series are going to be more on the theory part because I wanted to complete the theory, and then the remaining sessions in this series will be a lot of questions for you for practice. In fact, for those of you who are attending this session for the first time, there is another series that I already started where it was a mixture of questions and theory. I'm continuing the theory into this part also so that I don't have to repeat the theory again and again, and those of you who are listening to me don't feel bored. So this is a continuation of the theory, and I will make sure that today will be the last session for the theory part. And there will be one or two questions only for today. But after this, from the next session onwards, we are going to look at a lot of questions. But again, don't think that this is only theory. Oh, why should I attend that? The reason is very simple. Today's session of theory is all about general knowledge and the questions that can be asked directly. In fact, a similar session that we took last year had a lot of questions coming in the actual exam because that was the current affairs at that point in time. So I'm going to cover all of that and also take up a few things that have happened since last year to this year, if time permits today or probably tomorrow. So the topic today is going to be talking about the government and the startups. What has the Indian government done for the startups till last year? And I will also cover separately what has the government done from last year to this year. Right, so that's what we have in the session today. Let's go ahead and take a look at all the government initiatives which have been taken till last year. Okay, so these are all the government initiatives that we're going to talk about. Something called as Startup India Initiative. I'm sure you would have heard about a lot of these things. Startup India Initiative, Pradhan Mantri Mudra Yojana. Then we're going to talk about DIDF. Then we're going to talk about Credit Guarantee Trust Fund or Trust Fund for micro and small enterprises, Atal Innovation Mission. We're going to talk and understand support for international patent protection. Again, people talk a lot about India not being a good country for protection of intellectual property rights. So the government has done something in this regard, and they made sure that some form of protection is offered in at least this section of electronics and information. Okay. Then we have technology. SIP EIT as a cell there which is doing wonders. We're going to talk about it. Multiplier grant scheme, what is that? And we are going to talk about venture capital assistance scheme, Aspire and Samriddhi scheme. So these are all the schemes we're going to look at because last year the questions came directly. In fact, the questions came like, okay, what is the full form of this? Or this word, this acronym, what is the full form of the, which of the following options is the full form of this? That way the questions have directly come. So while we are not looking at many questions in today's sessions, make a note of all these things that we're going to learn because they can directly appear to you in the question, which in the question paper. Last year it happened. So please keep that in mind. Okay. Having said that, let's start with the first point, which is Startup India Initiative. Now I have highlighted the most important points. I'm sure you all have a paper and pen. Don't be lazy. Write it down. Writing makes you remember things better than just reading. It's much more effective than just reading. Okay, take my word for it. So please do write it down. So when was this Startup India Initiative launched? It was launched way back in 2016. So almost 7 years now. 16th Jan 2016. Okay, so what is the purpose of this? The purpose was to increase wealth and employability of workers. Workers meaning people who are working. Don't think of laborers. Not necessarily, because Startup India is typically for people who are getting into the startup jobs. And also now, if you want to help the people who are getting into the startup as an employee, obviously as long as the startups are struggling, they will not be able to take care of the employees well. So if you start a new company, there's a ton of burdens on top of you. So to make the life easier of a nascent stage, early stage company, they made sure that there are certain tax benefits given under this scheme, right? Then they also, basically this is maintained by the Department of Industrial Policy and Promotion. So this comes under the Department of Industrial Policy and Promotion, all the schemes that are coming under Startup India, right? Overall age limit for startup has been increased from 2 years to 7 years. Now what does this mean? So first of all, why is this age important? Because they will say that this Startup India scheme initiative is applicable for a startup. Now, what is a startup? There has to be a definition. So earlier the definition was a company which is incorporated and up to 2 years will be called as a startup and it will get all the benefits. Then they revised this and said that okay, 2 years is too small, a company cannot become big within 2 years. It's like saying that I will hand hold the kid only for 2 years, so after that I'll leave it. You can't say that, the kid will still need hand holding. So here they said that from 2 years we will take it up to 7 years. Okay. And for biotechnology firms, now the biotechnology is a different ball game altogether. A technology in terms of IT, information technology, your firm can become big in a span of 4, 5, 6 years. But a biotech, there the gestation period to create something in the pharmaceutical industry is itself something like 10, 15 years, sometimes 8 years. So you can't say that a biotechnology firm will be will be having a similar benefit as a IT firm. It's not correct, because IT firm, the investment will be relatively less compared to a biotech. So a biotech firm has to invest a lot of money, resources, and after 8, 9, 10 years, they will start getting the returns. Because of which they have a separate rule for this, and they said that it is going to be 10 years from the date of incorporation. So the benefits, if you are classifying yourself as a biotech firm, you will be getting it up to 10 years and not just 7 years. Okay, so these are the main highlights of Startup India initiative. Let's move on to the second point. The second scheme is something called as Pradhan Mantri Mudra Yojana. What is this? It is basically for development of micro units refinance agency. So these are called Mudra banks. Now this is something very interesting that you need to understand. See, you normally, if you are in a city, you have, I don't know how many of you are working, but if you are working, you will have a regular salary, you will have a bank account, you might have taken a loan, you might have been paying a loan regularly, so you have a credit history. Banks will call you and say that, hey, I'm going to give you a loan, you want to take it, it's nice for you. Imagine a farmer or a person who is in a village and they don't have an access to a proper bank, or they don't have a record in terms of financial history where they have not taken too much of loan, they have not repaid any loan because they don't have a bank account also. But they are a small scale person doing some small scale industry, handloom industry or a weaving industry or a painting industry, pottery or a small agricultural farm. How will they get money? Now, when you go to a bank, they will say, okay, show me your financial records. Do you have a bank account? Do you get a regular salary? What assets do you have? All of these things. They will not have any of those things. So how will they get loan? If at all they want to get a loan, then they'll have to go to a local landlord or somebody like that, and they will charge an exorbitant amount. 2% interest per month, 24%, 36%, it goes like that. So government understood the problem in this, and they said that okay, we are going to create a small banking system. They are called as Mudra, okay, Mudra banks, and they have been created for the special purpose to create loans, give loans, disburse loans to the people who need them. Said the exam date is still a black hole as of now. The exam date is not yet confirmed. So I'm assuming that it is not going to be in the month of April. Definitely it's going to be in the month of May. That too, not in the first week of May also. It will be either second week or after that. I'll not be surprised if it goes to the third week of May. So you have a lot of time, Sid. Okay. So what is the purpose of this? To enhance credit facility, to make sure that people who want the credit, who can't get from the normal banks, have the ability, have the institution there to give them the credit that they want. Okay. And of course, small businesses in the rural areas. Cities, people still end up getting loans by something or the other. In rural areas, it's very difficult for them to get a loan. So that was the main purpose of this. It was launched in April 8th, 2015. Launched on April 8th, 2015. So it's been a good 8 years now. The loans have been categorized as 3 types of loans: Tarun, Kishore and Shishu. Very interesting. Shishu loans, and this was a direct question last year. I think it was asked on Kishore. Now what is Shishu loan? Shishu loan is a small loan which is given up to 50,000. Up to 50,000. Okay, for an individual farming loan or a small industry, small scale, individual person, not even a company. You are setting up a pani puri stall. Great, go ahead and take a loan that you want. So those are called as Shishu loans, very, very small loans, microfinance. Kishore are slightly bigger than this. So it goes from 50k to 5 lakhs. Such quantum of loans, that range of loans are called as Kishore loans. And finally, you have Tarun loans, which is 5 lakhs to 10 lakhs. 5 lakhs to 10 lakhs. So these are called as Kishore, Tarun and Sishu. So Tarun is the highest, Kishore is the in between, Sishu as the name indicates, infant, small. Right? Very good. Let's move on. The next thing that the government has done for the startups is something called as Dairy Processing and Infrastructure Development Fund, DIDF. Okay, this was created, this was under National Bank for Agriculture. So you have heard of NABARD. What is the full form of NABARD? NABARD full form is National Bank for Agricultural and Rural Development. It was created, so this particular initiative was started in the Union Budget of 2017-18. NABARD. NABARD was existing, the DIDF. Okay. Now what happens under this? This is focused for dairy and the dairy farmers. So the loan component would be 80% with the end borrower's contribution as 20%. So if you want to have a business proposition, you want to take a loan from it. So under this DIDF, this fund will give you a loan, but it will not give you a 100% loan. It says that, look, you want to run a business. Good, I am there to support you. You put 20%, I'll give you 80%. It cannot be that I'll take the entire risk of your business. I'll give you a loan, good. You also put your own money so that you don't cheat and run away. So you will put 20% of the money, I will put 80% of the money. Let's go run the business. You will pay me back the loan. I'm not an owner. You are the owner. You will pay me back with some interest, very nice interest. So what is the interest? You can look at it. 6.5% per annum at that point. Very, very small percent. Very, very nice. I mean, you can't get a loan as low today. Okay. The repayment period will be 10 years. So it's not that I'll give you a loan today and I'll say that, okay, give it back to me in a year. So the tenure could be as much as 10 years if you want. Okay. And now, the banks or NABARD, which is basically or this fund which is giving out. Now, please remember, no bank will give a loan just like that. While the government has created this to give loans, it needs some kind of a guarantee. Obviously, the small business will not be able to give me any asset as a collateral. So what will I do? The central government made this scheme. The state government have to take the guarantee or give the guarantee that this business belongs to my state. So I will give the guarantee. So this guy, if he defaults, I will pay the money to the central government or the fund which is DIDF. So the guarantee is given by the state government, the central government will give them the money, the business is the money. So this basically will also make sure that the state government is brought into the loop. It is not completely cutting out the state government. At the end of the day, see, central government sitting somewhere will not know what a person borrowing money from, let's say, a Kerala or a Tamil Nadu is doing, or even in UP is doing for that matter. You need to have local authorities to be a part of it. That is where the guarantee for the state government comes in. So it becomes a bit more tight or a bit more difficult for people to cheat because state government is involved, central government is involved. Okay. If the borrower is not able to contribute his or her share in the scheme, the state government will step in. That's the whole point of a guarantee. The purpose, meaning of a guarantee, remember this, whenever you're giving guarantee for a loan, it means if somebody defaults, it is your job to pay up. So be very careful whenever you're giving a surety or a guarantee. It is going to be your head if something goes wrong with that particular loan, right? Anyway. Next is Credit Guarantee Trust Fund for Micro and Small Enterprise. Again, if you notice, a lot of these schemes coming up for small enterprises because guys, big companies have loans, investors are there, big loan companies are there, foreign, private equity players are there to give out a loan. They can raise bonds, they can raise, follow-on public offering or an IPO also, depending upon what is the nature of the company right now. Multiple avenues are there for big companies. The problem comes for small companies, not even mid-size. I'm talking about few lakhs. The company makes few lakhs in a year. Those level of companies, they will have a bigger problem going and getting a loan from a bank. So this was So Credit Guarantee Trust Fund for Micro and Small Enterprises was again created and it was put into effect from 1st Jan 2000. So it's about a good 2000. So this was done almost, how many years is that? 23 years by now. Okay. Business loans to micro level businesses, small scale industries and startups with zero collateral. Once again, the whole idea, see, with collateral any bank is ready to give. If you say that, okay, I have land, I'll put that land as collateral, any bank will be ready to give you the loan. The problem is people don't have that, so it has to be collateral free loan. Okay. And thus, interest rates are subsidized. Now what does this mean? It means subsidy. Please remember, subsidy is not free. Somebody is paying for it. People think that subsidy is free. Subsidy is not free, frankly. If I have to give you an example, let us say that you are purchasing a kilo of rice. Normally the rice should cost you 40 rupees. So the government is supposed to, I am going to the shop, the government is selling the rice to me, let us say, as an example, and I am paying 40 rupees. Let us say somebody who has a subsidy, for whatever reason, there are many reasons why somebody can be getting a subsidy. He goes to the same shop. He will get the rice at, let's say, 15 rupees. He will get the rice, or she will get the rice at 15 rupees. Does it mean that they are getting 25 rupees free for the person? Yes. Does it mean that the government is losing 25 rupees? It may be or may not be, depends on how the subsidy scheme is made. If the government says that this entire 25 rupees will be borne by me, then it means, yes, it is letting go of 25 rupees and it is selling it to you, to the person who subsidized at 15 rupees only. Sometimes, the government will say that, look, this entire 25 rupees is cut off for the person is happy. Now this 25 rupees will be divided among the state government and the central government. So sometimes that also happens. Saying that there is a percentage 50-50, which means the central government will lose only 12.5 rupees, the state government will also pay 12.5 rupees. So effectively, the central government will be losing only 12.5 rupees because it is getting the remaining 12.5 from the state government. So the subsidy basically makes sure that the person is benefited. Whether the government is losing money or not, or the banks are losing money or not, completely depends upon the scheme. Clear? Chirag says, is this sufficient to score good marks in entrepreneurship 70 plus? Chirag, I think it's, you're talking about 4 marks per question, right? So 80 marks. Yeah, so last year, again I'm telling this, I'm not bragging, but this is what happened. Last year, out of the 20 questions, 16 or 17, I don't remember how many, 16 or 17 for sure, I don't remember the exact number, but I counted them because I wrote the exam, came directly from the topics that we spoke, that I personally took. So yes, it will be very much possible for you to get a very high score from these lectures. So please listen to us carefully. Okay? Right, the next one is called as Atal Innovation Mission. Very small, nothing great about this. It was created in the budget session of 2015. Create a promotional platform involving academicians and draw upon national and international experience to foster a culture of innovation, research and development. So basically, if you are in the field of acads, you will realize what is the problem. The problem is there is not too much of interaction between the industry and the institutions. In fact, many companies, cry about this or they complain about this. What is the complaint? The complaint says that, look, the students are not ready. I can't go to the campus and say that, hey, this student I am giving placement, he will come within 1 month and join my company and start working. The company says that they are not ready like that. We have to take them, then I have to train them again and then put them into job. So I am taking a person who is not ready. I am supposed to train them for 3, 4, 6 months sometimes. So I am paying for their training because he is on my payroll. So the job of the college is to make sure that the student is ready to work directly, but that is not happening. So to make sure that this gap is bridged, this Atal Innovation Mission was started. Okay, so the purpose is to make sure that there is an interaction between academics and the industry experts, so that the curriculums, the syllabus, everything is in sync with what they want, and so that the students can be, if not 6 months training, they can be ready within 1 month of training, to cut down the time. That's the whole point. Okay, next is SIP EIT. So this is something called as Support for International Patent Protection in especially Electronics and Information Electronics and Information Technology, IT. Because many of the software companies globally are now setting up offices in India, and one of the bigger concerns is that India has poor intellectual property protection. That's one of the concerns for many of the companies. So to address that particular point and to make sure that the companies keep coming to India so that there is no problem from our end, and we will be able to generate, or rather they will be able to generate more and more jobs and employment, this particular thing was created, especially in the electronics and the information technology sector. Okay, so financial support is provided for international filing in information communication technology and electronic sector. So one point is that a patent to be, so the thing about patent is it is not global. You have to file for patent in every country. So you have to file for a patent in India. If you get a patent in India, it does not mean that somebody in US can't copy you. You have to file a patent in US, you have to file a patent in different countries that way. Yes, technically if you copy, there are remedies, but it's going to be, again, who's going to go to the court and fight it out? It's better that you preempt and make sure that such a thing does not happen. But that will require money and information. So somebody has to be there to help you out with the money or at a low cost. So that is one of the purposes for SIP EIT. Okay. The reimbursement limit has been set at a maximum of 15 lakhs per invention or 50% of the total charges incurred in filing and processing of a patent application, whichever is higher, whichever is lesser. So basically what they're saying is, we understand that to file a patent and to process a patent, it is a time consuming and money consuming process. So the government said that under this scheme, we will give you 50% or 15 lakhs, whichever is on the lower side. We can't say that we will get 50% of whatever amount. It doesn't work that way. Cap is 15 lakhs. If it is going more than 15 lakhs, that is 50%. So the total amount is going more than 30 lakhs, you will get 15 only. If it is going 40 lakhs, you will still get 15. If it is total is 20 lakhs, you will get half of that, 10. So it is a lesser of 50%, half, or 15 lakhs. Okay? And this can be applied at any stage of international patent filing by the patent applicant. So it doesn't have to be that at the beginning itself I should approach SIP EIT and then with their permission only go. I can start filing, come in between to them and say that, look, I have filed, I started this process and now I need more money, so please help me. So it is not restricted to only a certain timeline. You can always go to it at whatever timeline of the patent application that you are in. Alright? The next is software technology park. A lot of STPs were set up. So totally export oriented scheme for the development and export of computer software. So what is this whole idea of software technology park? We wanted to have a lot more of outbound business. So basically exports. Now exports are good for a country. Why exports are good? Because when you sell things from India to country abroad, they will pay you. They will pay you in dollars. So you will get dollars into the country. You are getting dollars into the country. And because you will have to purchase a lot of things like oil. One of the biggest purchases of India is oil. The second biggest purchase, I believe, is gold. We consume tons and tons of oil and tons of gold. So when we have to buy it from outside, we'll again use dollars. So if we have dollars in the Reserve Bank, the imports and export, the difference between the money, the dollars which are coming in and the dollars which are going out will not be too high. If it is not too high, then we don't see. Remember, our banks cannot print dollars. We can only print rupees. So when we want to buy something from outside, we have to pay in dollars. If we have to pay in dollars, where will we get that? We can get that in two ways. Somebody is selling from India to outside, in which case they will pay us in dollars. So that is one way in which India will get a dollar. Or I will have to borrow dollars. Or I will have to buy dollars. Buying dollars is the expensive part. The more dollars you have to buy, the more expensive they will become. Because the demand is more and more. You know the price. If the demand is high, the price will increase. So normally a country tries to maintain a well-balanced import and export portfolio. If the balance is going out of balance, so if the equation is going out of balance, you have too many imports but very few exports. So let's say you're getting in $100 worth of sales you did. So you're getting $100 into the pocket, but you're purchasing $1,000 worth of goods. So you will have $100 to pay. Where will the other 900 come from? You can't print in your country. So you will go to somebody and ask them to give you that $900. So that's a loan you're taking as a country. Or you will say that, okay, let me buy this $900. So they will charge you something for that. And you have to pay that. So there are repercussions of that. That is economics. I'm not getting into that. So that is the whole point. So they will basically make sure that your the country's exports in this particular area is benefited. The scheme is unique in its nature as it focuses on only one sector, that is computer software. As I said, it's very, very focused. The purpose is to increase the exports of computer software. Okay. The scheme integrates the government concept of 100% export-oriented units. So basically you are saying, so this scheme is very beneficial, or rather it is aimed at those companies which are set up purely for the purpose of exports. You're not going to deal with India anymore. You will be in India in this zone called Software Technology Park, and if you are in this park, it means you have to export all your business abroad. Chinmay, the date has come out. Are you sure? When did it come out? Today? Are you guys sure, guys? Please check. All right, so I'm not aware of that. I think good that you mentioned 4th May. If the date is out today, then that's good. The sales in the domestic tariff shall be permissible up to 50% of the export in value terms. So now what happens if I am not able to completely sell things abroad? Now I can't shut my company. So then they will say that, look, you are allowed to sell. You are allowed to sell in the country also, but there's a limit. You can sell maximum up to 50% of the total volume. So if you're producing 100 units, maximum 50 you can sell in India, not more than that. Because the primary purpose of your business in this park is supposed to be export abroad. That's the whole idea. Okay. Next is Multiplier grant scheme. So what is this? It is started by the Department of Electronics and Information Technology, once again aimed at electronics and IT. So there are a lot of schemes on the IT because most of the startups are on the IT side only. Very few startups come up on the technology, the manufacturing side. They do come up, but not many. But the number of startups that come on the technology side, IT, information technology especially, is very, very high. So one more grant called as Multiplier grant scheme. Encourage collaborative research and development between industry and academic institutions for the development of products and packages. Once again, this is again trying to get the industry and academia in line, so that the industries can take up the consulting help of, or can take the benefit of the academicians also. So they are trying to again bring these two disjoint units together. Okay, thanks, Sanskar. Okay, if the industry supports the R&D of products that can be commercialized at the institutional level, the government shall provide financial support which will be up to twice the amount provided by industry. So what does it mean? It's basically saying that if R&D of products can be commercialized at the institutional level, right? Industry supports the research and development of products that can be commercialized. So something you are supporting, which means you are financially assisting with your time and effort you are assisting as a company. Okay. So then the government shall provide financial support which will be up to twice the amount provided by the industry. So basically saying that if you are giving 100, the government will give up to 200 rupees. So totally 300 rupees will be going into R&D. What is this R&D for? This R&D is for the institute there to develop something which can be useful for the industry. So the government is saying, look, I am ready to pay, but I want the industry also to step in. It's not that I am putting my money to help the companies. Companies come, put money, I will also help you. So I'll help you more. That's the whole idea. Okay. App original products and packages. Yes, so basically MSG promotes and expedites the development of app original products and packages. So the whole idea is, see, if the institutions, that is the colleges or the educational institutions, they don't have funds for R&D, or they have little funds for R&D, the entire timeline for developing something takes on for a very, very long time. So this process of giving funds from the industry and the government will basically fasten up the things. So the whole idea here is to make sure that the industry is taking and collaborating with the institutes. Right, moving on, the venture capital assistance scheme. Now this is till now whatever we have seen is direct benefiting the companies or the industries or the small businesses. Now we are talking about the people who will be putting money into the businesses. So because startups cannot only be, the government always says this, that look, it is not only the government's responsibility to help the small companies. Yes, they will do whatever they can, but at the end of the day, they cannot be a company which is dependent on the government. So it's like, I will make you ready, you go live your life. You can't be a child who's always clinging to the father or the mother for that matter, or the parents for that matter. So government says that we will act as a good parent, we will give you some benefits. At the end of the day, you have to go and live your life. How will you live your life? You need people who can support you with external money. That is where the venture capitals and private equity comes in. So there are certain schemes for the venture capitals who will be funding these startups also. Okay. So Small Farmers Agribusiness Consortium was launched by the Venture Capital Assistance. So basically this is again small farmer and agri-business consortium, a group which takes care of the people who are having, what is small? There is a definition for that. Half acre, 1/4 acre, those kind of farmlands that people own and they farm in those small parcels of land. They are called as small farmers. Okay, so it is benefiting those kind of farmers. Welfare of farmer entrepreneurs and to develop their agribusiness. This is very self-explanatory. Obviously, why am I launching a fund for the farmers? Basically to enhance their farming and agricultural business. It's as simple as that. Nothing great about it. So the scheme is approved by the banks and financial institutions, regulated by the RBI, which means they cannot, at least the financial institutions cannot mess around. Because guys, I don't know how many of you know this, RBI is one of the very powerful bodies that controls all the financial institutions in our country. I have worked for a lot of banks earlier in my life and I have seen that almost every bank is really afraid of RBI. They are very, very careful when RBI is involved. So the chance of a financial institutions taking somebody for a toss, or somebody for a ride, or defrauding somebody, is very, very less when RBI institutions like RBI are involved. Also, it's a trust factor. Okay. The quantum of the loan will be 26% of the promoter's equity. The maximum amount of loan provided under the scheme will be 50 lakhs. Again, as I said, small loans, 10, 12, 15 lakhs, depending upon the the ability of the farmer. So the loan will be 26% of the promoter's equity. So if I am running a business of, let's say, 10 lakhs, I can get a loan of up to 2.6 lakhs. If I am running a business in a hilly region, then the loan can be up to 4 lakhs. But the maximum, even if I am putting 10 crores, it's not that I'll be getting 2.6 crores. The maximum limit is only 50 lakhs. So there's a limit, because if somebody wants a loan of 2.6 lakhs, 2.6 crores, and which means their equity is 10 crores, they will not be called as a small business anymore. That's the whole idea. Okay? Yes, Surendra, Bankers Bank, that is correct. Okay. The next initiative is something called as Aspire. It was brought in on the 16th of March 2015. It is a scheme for promotion of innovation, rural industries and entrepreneurship. Once again, a scheme towards the rural side and entrepreneurship. All these schemes, as I said, are different schemes to help the rural sector. If you notice, they are biased heavily towards the rural sector because the city people anyway have a lot of benefits, right? It's promoted by the Ministry of Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises. It's called Ministry of SME. Okay, this is not writing. Okay, SME. So small and medium enterprises is the SME, Ministry of SME. Okay. Akansh, limit of loan is not required. The names are important. That's a very good question, Akansh. How to remember all such initiatives along with the limit of loan? Limit of loan you don't need to. Remember the dates. Dates were asked last year. It's like, which of the following schemes was announced on 2016? Some month, April 2016. They'll give you 4 names. So, 2 things you have to remember, full form and year of launch. These are the 2 things. Now, how to remember that? Revise it daily. If you do it for date of start, yes. If you do it daily for, let's say, 10 days, they will be sticking into your mind. See, at the end of the day, I'm talking about 10 schemes or 8 schemes today. I'll probably talk about 4 or 5 schemes in the next session, and then a lot of questions. So please don't try to mug it up every day, everything in one day. Yes, read everything. Tomorrow, read again. Day after tomorrow, read again. By the time you go to the 4th day, some parts will already be there in your mind. By-hearting should not be done in a single day. By-hearting, do it today, repeat it tomorrow. Repeat it the day after, always. Anyway. As I said, this part is again self-repeating innovation for agro-industry. That's again something simple. Let's move on. The next one is this last scheme for today. Enough of schemes. I think you are all tired about schemes. Is Samriddhi scheme. So, Ashwin Vaishnav, who was then a newly appointed Minister of Electronics, Information and Technology again, okay, this is, guys, just a moment. Yeah. So who was the minister under which this scheme was launched? Please remember, Ashwini Vaishnav. Okay. Launched the Samriddhi scheme, startup accelerator of MAIT for product innovation, development and growth. So the important point here is the person's name and which ministry is it? Electronics Information Technology. So ME, Ministry of Information Technology, Electronics Information Technology, MEITY, MIT. Ministry of Electronics Information and Technology. So it's written as, for some reason, M and Y are capital, the others are small. It's a cool way of writing, I guess. That's okay. It was launched in the year 2021, just about 2 years back, during the pandemic, August 2015. August 25th, that was when it was launched. This provides funding support to startup along with helping them bring skill sets together which will help them grow successfully. Focus on acceleration of 300 startups by extending them with customer connect, investor connect and other opportunities for international expansion in the next 3 years. So what did the government do exactly here? This was a forum, Samriddhi scheme. Under this, if you register yourself under this particular scheme, you will be called to a lot of forums that the government is organizing, lot of investor meets that the government will, many of the many of the states have this investor meets. So they will give you a chance to go and talk about your particular company or your particular product there. You'll probably be able to set up a stall, talk to the investors there. You'll have an opportunity to get the exposure. So that's basically what the scheme does. Apart from that product, Akansh is a typo. This is small r. That is a typo. This is not a matey is not a typo. Okay, that's correct. But that's fine. Alright, so that is basically the theory for today. I have 2 questions only for you today. Not many, I'm sure, because there's a lot of theory for you to, you have written down a lot. So please go back, remember all of this. Direct questions can come from this. I have only 2 questions. One question is just to see if you remember something from the last class. So here's the first question. What is the answer to this? We've discussed this in the last class. Let's see how many of you remember this. It's a repetition, deliberately. I want to see how many of you remember this. What is the answer, guys? Monetizing an idea to make money with some method of operation is known as. Anyone? Let us see how many of you remember. Sanskar Prajapati says D, Chinmay says C, Akansh says D. Guys, the correct answer is business model. See, some method of operation. We are not getting into the nitty-gritties of operations. What you're talking about is how to make money. What is the way, different ways in which money can be made. We are not getting into the process of making money. That process will be called as revenue model. Business model is basically talking about how can you generate value to your customer. Therefore, how will that value earn you money? That's the whole idea. So for example, if you look at Google's business model is, look, I will give things free to the customer. The companies that want, so basically what is my business model then? As Google search, I will get lots of people onto my website, Google. They will search for everything there. So I have access to billions of audience, millions and billions of audience. That's first part. Second part is because I have access to so many people, companies will come to me to advertise. So companies are ready to pay to me. So my business model is the value I'm creating to the customer is they will get free of cost a lot of things. And the second part of the story is because they're getting free of cost so many things, they will stay with me, and because there are so many people with me, other companies will be ready to come to me and give me money. Now, what are the different ways in which I'll make money that will be coming under revenue model? They could be that they can advertise directly, which is called as a pay-per-click. They could advertise using SEO. They could advertise using, let's say, a banner ad. Whenever it comes to a particular website, your ad will be shown. That's another revenue model. Different types. So those get into the revenue model. Clear? Next question. These questions are repetition. I just wanted only one new question. I think these were done already. Yes, what is the answer to this question? Take this one question. This is the only new question for today. What is the answer to this, guys? What is the model of proposed product, service or system? We discussed the theory in the last class. Give me the answer. Once again, testing if you understood the questions from last class. Model. Model is prototype, not proof of concept. Remember guys, proof of concept only shows that look, this idea can be made possible. Prototype is the next step after that. How is the idea being made possible? How will it look like, touch and feel of the idea? That is called as a prototype. Okay? Can you pin last session, Akash? Just search with the same name, part 1, you will get that. Just search with the same name, part 1, you will get that. Okay, so friends, that brings us to the end of the session. I hope you enjoyed the session. Please give me a like so that I can come back to you with more energy next time and a lot more questions for you. Your likes are my feedback. I will take it positively if you give me a lot of likes so that I can come back with a lot more information and content. Thank you and all the very best for your preparation.